never does what I tell her to do. I said, don't introduce me. It's so good to be back. I know most of you don't know that I was gone.
Yes, people notice.
But, you know, we had a hard time leaving town. Stella and I get to the airport at 4 in the morning, or we left at 3, and they canceled our flight. Thank God we got the PLC. Oh, God. So we put in mine right now, and we had to wait there. They canceled the flight because of mechanical problems. So rather than say, we learned this, you know, we build the enthusiasm, rather than say, why is this happening to me, or to us, what did I do? What do we say? Why is this happening for me? So we looked at each other, and at noon we got on the plane after sitting there for 6 hours. And Stella looked at me and said, well, it's better than being 36,000 feet in the air and dropping out of the sky. Then we get to Phoenix, and what happens? Another 4 hours. We had a hard time getting to Milwaukee, but we got there. Anyway, we're here. It's so glorious to be here in this atmosphere of love, bringing forth this new theme for May. Is this May? June. Enthusiasm. You know, and I thought about that, and I went, gosh, what am I going to do with this? I can't rely on old notes. And I think they did on purpose. I got to think, you know, when I was in the Marines, I had this booklet that I carried with me all the time. And I don't know if you're a youngster and you're in the Marine Corps, you have a tendency to be overwhelmed sometimes and get in the fear and all. But I had this booklet that was put out by a guy named Richard Scott back in 1928, or 23, it was 1923. And I carried it with me because it provided not only inspiration, but it kind of protected me. And the title was God is My Co-Pilot. How many of you have ever heard of the book, God is My Co-Pilot? And I'll be darned, what I did, it wasn't so much the content of that book that really inspired or protected me, but it was the word itself, God is my co-pilot. So I created a mantra, which I used constantly in those days. So when I was overwhelmed or getting in a fear or losing confidence in myself, you know, when you're 19 or 20, you have a tendency to lose confidence, especially if you have to climb a rope that's 40 feet in the air and do some crazy things. But anyway, and I use it as my God is my co-pilot, God is my co-pilot, and I'll be darned if everything just changed, it's just leveled out. It was really a wonderful experience. And so I find out even to today that shift in consciousness from where we're part of an object, where we're part of a solution in some way. And to this very day when I get pushed out of shape, or if we tend to in PLC and in Emerson Institute push the envelope. Have you noticed it? We're always doing some weird stuff, and we want to experience new stuff and stuff. So when I get to that point where I lose a little bit of confidence, and we do sometimes because we're out there in the unknown, and all of a sudden I use it. God is my co-pilot. God is my co-pilot, and things change. And this happened just recently, and I've got something here which is kind of cool. I sat down with Reverend Sandy not too long ago, and actually it was about a month or so ago, and I said, you know, we've got some therapists in our area, and every therapist has to do with continuing education, but they have to do it from a certified, licensed entity. I said, Sandy, why can't we be that entity as Emerson Institute, the Paz Living Center of Central California? So we went online, got all the forms, and we sat down there at her desk, and we said, and we looked at it and we said, rather than be the object of something where we're controlled by something or that we don't have confidence in something, let's bring God into the picture. Let's know. I don't know why. I have this idea that we can actually provide an energy into a thing, and have that energy go. So we prayed on that, and we said, this is God force in action, and we sent the darn thing in, and in record time, I got this just this last week. Congratulations on your approval to offer continuing education for, and I don't even know what half of these letters mean. I don't even know. Continuing education for LMFT, I know what that is, that's Marriage and Family Counseling, isn't it, I guess. And LCSW, I guess that's a licensed social worker. LEP, what is that? And LPCC. Well, we're licensed to provide special continuing education by the state of California from the Board of Behavioral Science Studies and Sciences. There it is. They say, this mysterious energy, you know, that we call enthusiasm, it comes from the Latin and the Greek. Are you aware of that? God, I'm screaming. Am I talking too loud?
No.
Too soft? Am I talking at all? Anyway, this idea of enthusiasm comes from the Greek and the Latin. And it's entheos. Entheos. It's bringing God into the present moment. It's possessing God, or letting God possess you. It's bringing that divine energy and light that we are into the moment. And so what this enthusiasm about is the outpicturing of this person standing on this platform or anywhere, having the light of that perfection of God shining through whatever the work is. Isn't that cool? And we all do that. We can do that. I know our practitioners do it. When they're standing forth, if somebody comes forward and says, you know, I need a healing. And of course they immediately think they don't need a healing because they're pure perfection. But their body needs some work. But then they have that light of God shine through their activity. And that's what we call, when we refer to it as enthusiasm. Entheos. There's a kind of an interesting story about that. How we get a transformation of our human consciousness when we go to that idea of being the oneness of who we are and let it shine forth. It has to do with the Miami Dolphin, former coach of the Miami Dolphin, Don Shula. How many know about Don Shula? Don Shula's, his special teams coach comes down with cancer of the bone, and he ends up in the hospital. True story. He ends up in the hospital, and he's lying there feeling sorry for him. We get into that idea that we're an object. We're the result of something that's happening. And so he's lying there, and he's feeling sorry for himself, and he's in fear of what's going to happen next. Don walks in, as a typical coach would, and do what he did. He looked at Mike, and he says, Mike, we have summer training in July, and I expect you to be there. He said, I need you. We're gonna win this next year, and we can't do it without you. And I'm here right now for a commitment. I want you to commit that you're going to be there in July and be part of this team and help us team. Well, Mike is spiritual revelation here. This is the starting point. You have to believe in something, and what you believe in is that you are a spiritual, eternal being enjoying this body, this form. But you are perfect, whole, and complete. Spirit cannot have disease, cannot have cancer. What the problem is that your body has a problem, and we can mitigate it. But this is where we come in spirituality, and we spent a couple, 4 or 5 weeks showing what that means. The last thing, and we'll end there, is I got it here. I'm way ahead of myself. This is cool. The third thing, and I think this third shift in consciousness really guarantees what we're talking about. It guarantees that we will bring the light of the universe into our beingness, that will shine forth. And that's to always expect the best. And we've talked about that. We know that expectation is an energy, a power that we have that triggers, that ignites the energy field of intelligence and intention. So expect the best. And what we do on that is we go, and we did that on our way to Milwaukee. We expected the best, and the best came forth. Maybe not to our liking, but we didn't drop out of the sky. And we got there okay. So expecting the best means that no matter what happens, that everything that happens in my life, and a lot of folks can't accept this, contributes to what I am. Everything. And it's hard. We like to judge and say, how could my dog getting run over by a car, I'm sorry, I didn't mean Gigi here. How can that contribute to my greater good? We don't really know the full mystery behind that, but we do know something. That everything that happens will contribute to us in some way. That the love energy is always there helping us. We need to expect the best. And if we do that, what can we do? Then we become the light. We become the light in everything we do. If somebody's in my face, complaining, out of having a bad day, I expect the best. Not, what is this happening? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening for me? What is it inside of me that's making me respond negatively to this man who's having a bad time? So expecting the best will get us into that light. And then we have that light that flows into us. And then when we're doing our banking, or we're doing this or that on the job, or we're here giving a talk, we know that that light of God, this tremendous energy force, is shining through in everything we do. And say with me loud and clear,
And so it